Ladies and gentlemen, we are here at Piccolo Restaurant in Portland, Maine. I am your co-host of the Scruffy Looking Podcasters, Mr. Jimmy Dice. I am here with Mr. Damian Sansonetti, co-owner of Piccolo and Cheval in Portland. Damian, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Great.
Awesome. We are here at the annual tradition, May the 4th dinner at Piccolo. We're super stoked about it. How many years have this been going on for now?
This is the sixth year. We've been doing it. We look forward to this every year. It's just it's something that's like near and dear to my heart, and I kind of inadvertently wrapped my wife into it too. And she loves Star Wars now and everything as well. But it's literally my favorite like franchise, movies, everything. I still remember the first time I saw it. It was the very first movie that I saw on cable. Nice. When my parents got cable, and I think it was also the very first movie we videotaped when we got our VHS out. And I still remember it was on HBO when HBO had the old spin around metallic-y thing and all that.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean I fell in love with the movie, and all of my cousins that were older than me all had the toys and everything else, and they were a couple years older than me, so it was always they had all this stuff, and I was like, man, this stuff is so cool. And you see the movies, and even though today we played the old original cut of the theatrical version of A New Hope, when they first actually tagged A New Hope onto it, because before, when it first came out, it didn't have A New Hope on top of it. It said Star Wars, and then they tagged that on because Lucas just, I mean, in his infinite wisdom of changing everything else, but with this, at least he kind of, to have the idea to have 9 movies basically and kind of have all of this, and there's even more in his head that come up with all of this stuff. I mean, that's a pretty good, for one individual to kind of have the basis for all of this. That's a pretty deep, smoking some good stuff. But I mean, geez, that's awesome. But I still remember watching it, and I still remember I remember whenever seeing the other movies in the theater as a kid growing up, and then having the Panini sticker books and getting the figures and everything else. And it just stuck with me and resonated with me for so much more than any other movie series or genre ever did. And it's just fun to watch. I mean, you just lose yourself for 2 hours or so in this kind of thing. And also too, what makes it so even better than just, I mean, it's great storylines and everything else, but the acting is, you can't beat it. The original actors and even the new actors they're having coming into it are solid actors, and and the directing is great, and it's just, I think they're back on track with it and everything, and we'll push the prequels a little aside. They have some good stuff in there with them. I mean, you can't discredit them, but I mean, I'm definitely original, trilogy kind of guy.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, there's only so much green screen that you can handle in the prequel, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about the menu tonight. So we had a lot of things going on, and as you folks know, we've talked about the menu before as we discussed it in past podcasts of the event that we've gone to this. We have things like the Dagobah Fizz and the Java the Hutt and the Tatooine Sunrise. There's also been past drinks like the Vaderade or the Yoda Soda or the Kylo Rye. I mean, there's some really great drinks here that have just been absolutely amazing, and I'm focusing on the drinks, obviously, because I'm Jimmy Dice. But we're going to skip back to the food a little bit. One of the menu items tonight is the Han Shot First. It's a solo chilled asparagus velouté shooter, shard onion creme fraiche. Shard onion creme fraiche. Can you tell us a little bit more about that opening dish? And I slaughtered everything about it. I'm so sorry.
Well, I mean, it's your opening item, so it's your first course. We served them in our vintage Dixie cups that we got and procured via the beautiful internet, and
Yes.
they were all unused, unopened packed of Dixie cups. And I remember having these things in the little Dixie cup holders as a kid, or you had a pile of them in the bathroom. Whenever you'd brush your teeth, you'd swizzle and then you'd trash them afterwards, But we started them in that, so it's kind of okay. Han shot first, right? So in the original movie, he shoots Greedo. Greedo, he's green. We're going to make an asparagus velouté. He shoots him. He's a little charred and fizzed in there, so we're going to char and smoke out some onions and put that into our creme fraiche that goes in there. So it ties all that together, and, it's a shooter because he shot. So it's you can just, shoot it back. So that's kind of how we kind of take a little more, cerebral dig into it for some of the dishes. for some of the stuff, and that was where you like just thought that out, like, oh man, if they were like, the only thing that was like with it was like if they were only just solo cups and not Dixie cups.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, make it a 16-ounce cup of that. Oh, you know what? The thing is, I would drink that. I would drink and shoot that entire thing in one go. It was absolutely delicious. As everything that has been on this menu for the past 5 years that my wife and I have been coming here. So I'll say that this has been going on for 6 years. My wife and I have been coming here for 5 years because we saw the write-up in the paper after the first year, and I said, we are never missing this ever again. So going on to a couple of at least one of the other menus on here. Let's talk about the Imperial Dewback ribs.
Okay, so this is one that it was one of those times where you're just sitting around and you're thinking about stuff and like, what can we do? What can we do? Because we do try and do stuff that's a little more kind of like for people who are into Star Wars. You have to think about it a little bit. And this is we brought this one back because it was a really big hit before. And we thought about it, and our chef de cuisine at Cheval right now, he was just talking about it today because he was working with us when we did this one before here about 2 years ago. And he was like, I thought you were crazy, like glazing baby back ribs at Mountain Dew. Because I'm thinking like, and the dewback is one of my favorite like animals in the kind of trilogy. But it gets like literally like 35 seconds of screen time,
right?
You know, but and it was one of those toys that I swear when I was little nobody had, and like I don't ever remember seeing it like for sale. And I bought one whenever I found one. And I was old enough, and I'm like, I want one of those because like it's cool. It's a lizard. Now my daughter plays with it because she thinks it's cool and she's into like lizards and dinosaurs.
Nice.
So, and I was like, it's a dewback, and I'm like thinking like, and I honestly, I swear to God, I think one of those like Chili's commercials were on, and it was like baby back ribs, and I'm like. Dewback rib, like, oh my God, dewback ribs, like, oh, a dewback, but we can make ribs and we can glaze it with Mountain Dew. Oh my God, that's perfect. Exactly what's gonna happen. It's Mountain Dew's green, technically, and then the ribs, and then it's cool. And then like this time we made it with like Darth cornbread, so we made our cornbread recipe with some squid ink into it. That's right. And it turned it black. Yeah, it turned it black.
Yeah, when it came out, the cornbread was just. It was straight black. It was like, what's going on here? Like, this does not look like cornbread.
Is this thing burnt or something? Like, what do we do with it? Yeah, but that squid ink will turn everything black, and it kind of gives a little bit of salinity to it too.
What was with the cornbread? There was a little bit of a thing next to it that there was
some garlic aioli on there. It was a sweet garlic aioli in there, so you can kind of swipe that and take a little bite with it. Yeah.
Oh, I swiped the whole thing in my first bite, and I was like, oh no, there's none left. That was absolutely great. I want to go back in time a couple of years. There was one dish that you did. I'd love you to tell me a little bit more about. I think it was the first time that we had been to this event. It was Empire Strikes Back, what was going on the screen behind us. It was the tauntaun sausage that you cooked in the pig's stomach. Can you just tell me how that went down?
So, pigs' stomachs and other pig parts, like even pigs' bladders, they were the original kind of way. Like everybody's familiar, kind of with sous vide, like reduced oxygen packaging, cooking, where you put something in a plastic bag, seal it, and then cook it in a water bath, right? So pig stomachs were kind of like quote unquote the original sous vide because you would put items inside of them and then either roast them or poach them or braise them for a very long time. Right. And if you think about it, they would also add flavor and keep moisture in there too. So we're thinking about it and we're like, okay, what if we like just threw something in there and did it? Because we would do there's a French dish called poulet en vessie, and you would take a whole raw chicken, shove truffles under the breast of it and the legs, stick it into a pig's bladder, and cook it and baste it in that pig's bladder, and it would steam in there. Nice. So it's like, what if we did that with sausages? And we tried it with a bladder, and it worked. And they're like, what if we did it like with something larger so we can like do a lot of it at once? And I tried, fine. We found pig stomachs from one of our farmers, and I was like, okay, we made a bunch of sausages, and then I'm like, okay, we can do this thing, and then like let's see how else we can make it. And then we put like a bunch of charred tomato sauce inside of it and the raw sausages, and just cooked it, basted it, and roasted it, and they all cooked. And we brought them out in the dining room and stopped the movie and sliced them open, and they all kind of just shot out. Right. Kind of like whenever you have the tauntaun getting sliced open from Han, and it's like it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yep. Yep. The only time we see Han Solo with a lightsaber.
The only non-Jedi with a lightsaber, pretty much, right?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. No, that was always just a real like monumental moment when I saw it. I was like, oh Jesus, these guys are real. This is a real thing right now. This is amazing. So I was always really, really, really impressed by that stuff. So I wanted to ask, what do you use to sort of inspire the different dishes? Like, do you think about this throughout the year and you kind of make notes as you go? Like, you see something that's like, ooh, that would be kind of cool. I'm just going to write this down, see if it pans out. Do you test a few things beforehand, see how they go?
We'll kind of like leave it open throughout the year, so we'll look at things, and now like Star Wars is so much around right now too, and there's stuff that's in canon, et cetera, and everything else. So we'll kind of look around too, and because not everything is just straight up food derived. We try and get things that are from a scene or from a character. There is obviously some stuff like Aunt Beru and the bantha milk. Like one of the first years, we actually made like Aunt Beru's like salad, because if you see her making the salad or like the vegetable she has in A New Hope, it's actually she has a pot with a food mill turned upside down, and she's putting fennel inside of it. So we made like a shade fennel salad and some other vegetables and stuff like that. So like that's when you actually get to see actual food, kind of in it, which is very few and far between. But a lot of it we try and like think of like scenes or characters that either like colors or textures or certain things will kind of get us inspired a little bit, and we'll all talk about it. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Cool. And then I'll make a note on my iPhone, and then we'll just like plug it back away, and I'll tag it like Star Wars, and then we'll keep bringing it back up and look at things. And then honestly, sometimes some things were like the asparagus veloute for tonight. I literally thought about that like a week ago, and I'm like, wait, that makes perfect sense. Like yes, let's do that. We're starting it's first course, shot first. Like boom, we're doing that. It like makes like sense right there. Nice. And it's stuff like that that's fun, because it's like people that are really into Star Wars will really get that kind of stuff too, which it makes it even more fun too for everybody, because pretty much the majority of everybody that comes to the dinners are really into Star Wars, and they're really into the whole kind of genre of it and everything like that, which is great.
And like you said, the folks that come here understand what they're getting into for the most part. Like every sort of little nuance that you see on the menu. I mean, for Ed and I, and then our wives and the other people who are here, it's like, oh, that's cool. I get that. Oh, the almighty Starlight tentacle is like the octopus. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. You had octopus before, I think, a previous year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, we did octopus for like the boar gullet experience.
Yeah, boar gullet.
Like, I like literally want to like do like something like, man, if we could give everybody like psychotropics and put shrooms in everybody's dish for that course, that'd be great.
Well, I mean, they're about to legalize marijuana in the state, so
what can happen down the road for all that,
That's right. So I just wrapping this up with one last question. Thoughts about Rey's lineage. So you've seen the Episode 9 trailer. You've heard Emperor Palpatine's laughter, maniacal laughter at the end. Do you have any thoughts about Rey's lineage? Was Kylo Ren telling the truth in The Last Jedi, her parents are nothing? Or is there a little bit more to that? What do you think?
Personally, I don't think he was telling the truth. It's kind of like shit talking, kind of like you don't really, trying to get somebody off their game or kind of trying to deceive them a little bit, because you can't trust the guy really, honestly. So for me, there's got to be something there. Either she's a clone somehow that came from like Skywalker's hand that they found, because like they found a lightsaber, so what the hell happened to the hand?
Where's the
right?
hand? Exactly.
So like, where'd the hand go? Because it was stuck to the damn thing, or did something happen with Leia and Kylo? And was there like something that happened there? Like, are they twins maybe? Because we don't really know the actual ages of them, and they're still kind of like technically around real life. We know they're kind of close to same ages almost in a way. I mean, but you never know in the Star Wars realm how old people are really. But there's something, because you don't just like pick up a lightsaber and have the Force and everything right away. So there's something there. There's something there. So however they go with it, it looks entertaining. The trailer looked entertaining. Abrams does a good job at directing. I think any of his movies have been very entertaining at the very minimum. And I think it's going to be a great thing. And they're going to leave a lot of stuff opened up, because I don't think they're done with. They're going to clear out this trilogy and this saga here, but they're going to still carry on with more stuff. And I think he understands the fans too, and not that he has to kind of pander to us and do everything we think, but the way he goes about it, I think, is really cool. You know, because I was happy with The Force Awakens, honestly, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's a remake of Star Wars." I'm like, "Yeah, but after the other stuff, you kind of wanted something like that too, a little bit, you know, just to revisit it a little."
Feel good,
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was different though, because everything's always the same but different, but in a different realm. But like the characters and the actors are what makes the movie too, not just the storylines and stuff like that. So they definitely have some great actors and stuff, and I'm just looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Awesome. Well, Damian Sansonetti, co-owner of Piccolo and Cheval, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all you do for the Portland food scene and for Star Wars and everything else. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. Really appreciate you guys coming.
And we'll see you next year. Folks, you can check out this post online, Twitter, Facebook. Check us out, Scruffy Looking Podcasters. See you next time.